No, we're on Bell's network. Is it the same? Is it the same service like Bell? Yes, we are on Bell's network. Quick answer, quick responses, and followed by a question. Okay? Yes, it's the same type of service. There's no static on the line. It's like Bell. But can you please try out a service and do me a huge favor? If you become my customer, I'm going to get a huge promotion. Follow with a question. But most important, could you please do me a huge favor? I already said that. Next. Okay? These are some common questions that we get. Who takes care of my line if I have a problem? The same people that Bell sent. Expertech and Entourage. How's the quality? It's the same thing. We're on Bell's network. Will I stay in the phone book? Yes. You get to choose how you want your name spelled, or you want just your first name, first initial of your first name, or you want your full first name. However you want it. We basically do it. What are your rates? What are your rates? 90% of people don't know what they're paying. So if somebody says to you, what are your rates? Say, what are your rates? And if they don't know, say, well, if you don't know, who cares? Right? But most importantly, can you try out a service and do me a huge favor? I will be indebted to you for life. Do I keep my number? Absolutely. You own your number now. Who is this company? We're an international telecom provider that started 16 years ago. We're in 20 countries. I don't make long-distance calls. Great! You don't make long-distance calls with Bell? Well, don't make long-distance calls with my company, ACN. I use calling cards. You're smart. Awesome. Continue to use calling cards. But instead of using calling cards with Bell, use them with me. I use Yak. Super! Continue to use Yak with me. I have a contract. With Bell, you do not. It is a bundle. People think bundles are contracts. They're not. Well, I save $5 with my internet because I'm in a bundle. Well, if I show you, you can save an extra $10 with me, will you do it? Our internet service, folks, is about $10 to $15 cheaper than anybody else. Okay? So just on our internet, you're helping people save money. Okay? I use Videotron. Good for Videotron. You still can become my customer. Just because you're on Videotron doesn't mean you can't become a customer. Okay? Next. Okay? And yeah, when you get somebody who's negative, folks, don't be mean. Okay? I see like too many people, like when somebody says, no, it's not for me, or I'm not interested, or your company's this, you start fighting with them. Next. I tell this story all the time. I play poker with my friends every week on Monday nights after presentations here. I usually go to my friend's place and we play poker. My friends, after 3 years I'm in this business, are still negative, are still rotten apples. I sit down and the first question they ask me is, how many phones did you sell today? True. I'm telling you the truth. I sit down, and at the beginning I wanted to fight. At the beginning, I would say, oh, you don't know the business, you got to do this, you got to do that, and it has nothing to do with phones. And my friends are thinking, this guy's crazy. Now I sit down and I say, I had a bad night, only 20 phones or so. But cash me in, here's some money. And what happens, okay, and I see it, folks, okay, I see it. At the beginning, their eyes, they got the best out of me. Why? Because they're to amuse themselves, they picked on somebody. And today, when I go and I sit down, I'm amused. Why? Because I can see in their minds going, nah, you should get involved in this thing. He's probably doing really well. He's doing really well. I heard he's doing really well. This and that. And their minds are working. I see it. And what goes around comes around. Eventually, your friends that said no to you a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, will come back. And we have a perfect example today. My sponsor, Franco Pellegrino, basically made me meet his... You want to come in? No? Okay, never mind. Franco introduced me to somebody who was his brother-in-law today, who he brought to the presentation, who he showed the business to 3 years ago. His brother-in-law called him and said, hey, I'm hearing about this thing. Can I see it again? And I don't know the whole story, but I'm sure 3 years ago when Franco showed him the business, he probably said, "You're crazy. You're not going to get anywhere with this thing." 3 years later, he called Franco and said, "Can you share it with me? I'm hearing about this thing. I want to know more." So be polite. What I say to you, why am I saying this, is that if you burn a bridge and you're rude or you tell somebody, "You're an idiot," they're not going to call you back. But if you're polite to them and say, "Thank you very much, thank you for your opinion. It wasn't for you, not a problem." Follow up with them 6 months later, a year later. You don't know what situation they're in. You see, folks, this business is a lot about timing. The timing is not right for some people. And I'm gonna share just a quick little story with you. Anybody here who knows Carlos Ray? Anybody here know Carlos Ray? There are a few people that know who Carlos Ray is. Okay, Carlos Ray is a senior vice president who's above Simon. Okay, he actually signed up Simon Abood in ACN. Carlos Ray used to live on my street. Okay, my street, 4 houses down. Okay, 7 years ago, Carlos Ray, every Thursday night, I'll never forget this, every Thursday night there was cars like around the corner. And after the 4th Thursday night, my wife said to me, "Go check out what's going on in that house." Okay? And I'll remember it because a lot of you guys are going, "Yeah, my wife's told me to do something like that before." Anyways, I walked over to the home, I knocked on the door, and I'm not a nosy neighbor, okay? But, there was always 50 cars around the lot, And I knocked on the door and I said, "Excuse me, listen, I'm one of your neighbors, you don't know who I am. I live 4 houses down, but can I ask you something? You have parties happening every Thursday night, I'm your neighbor, invite me to your party, it's trying to be fun." And he's like, no, we're having an opportunity meeting here, a business opportunity. Are you interested in taking a look at a business opportunity? 7 years ago. And I said, "Sure, I'm always open to take a look at a business opportunity." And 7 years ago, at that point in my life, my business was doing really, really well, or I don't know, whatever. I sat down. There was about 20 people in the home, 25 people, whatever. And at the end of the presentation, I went home, and I said to my wife, "Oh my God, they're brainwashing people. He's scamming everybody. We got to call the cops on this guy." True story. 7 years ago, okay? About 2.5 years ago, I met Carlos Ray again. I got involved in ACN 3 years ago, right? And I said to Carlos, I said, "I don't know if you remember, you probably don't, but you used to live on my street. And I came to your house one day for a presentation. I should have got involved 5 years ago or 4 years ago, whatever it was." And he looked at me, and I'll always remember what he said. He said, "No, it was a good thing you didn't get involved." And I'm like, "Why? Yeah, I would have been, senior vice president today." He's like, "The timing for you was not right. Your mind wasn't there. Your mind was somewhere else, or it didn't appeal to you then. And if you would have gotten involved 7 years ago, maybe something would have happened that would have put a bad taste in your mouth, and you wouldn't be where you are today with this opportunity." So what you need to understand, folks, it's a lot about timing. It's a lot about where that specific person is in their life at that specific time. And if it's not right for them today, it might be right 2 years from now, or 6 months from now, or 2 months from now. And especially in today's economy, there's people looking for an opportunity. So what I say to you is, don't just call everybody and try and convince them, but go back to your lists and say, "Hey, I know it wasn't right for you a year ago or 2 years ago. Are you interested in taking a look now? There's new developments with our company. We're here and there. We've been on the NBC primetime television show. Maybe you're open to take a look." Okay? So always be nice to people that say no. Don't burn a bridge. Remember, what comes around goes around? Okay? So make sure you get referrals. Verify your customers, folks, okay? Make sure you know when you go into your back office, you see, okay, your customer point list, okay? And if you have some incomplete customers, you can use our IVR system or dial our representative service, which is 390-8666, and find out what's going on with your customers.